This is the moment the signal died. If you were watching Fox News last night at 9:00 p.m. Eastern, you witnessed something that hasn't happened in 10 years. You witnessed the end of the symbiotic relationship that built the modern American right. President Trump was standing at the podium in the White House briefing room, red-faced, shouting about law and order, trying to justify the catastrophic events that had just unfolded in Dallas, Texas. He was mid-sentence, railing against criminal pastors and sanctuary cities, when the unthinkable happened. For 3 seconds, there was dead air, no sound, no image, just the void. And when the picture came back, it wasn't the President of the United States. It wasn't the White House seal. It was the Fox News studio in New York. And the anchor, visibly shaken, holding a piece of paper that was trembling in his hand, looked directly into the camera and said 5 words that broke the MAGA coalition forever: "We cannot show you this." He didn't say, "We're having technical difficulties." He didn't say, "We lost the feed." He said, "We cannot show you this." Why? Because what the president was defending and what the Murdoch empire has decided it can no longer defend was the turning of an American house of worship into a literal war zone. As of this morning, Thursday, January 29, 2026, the truce is over. Rupert and Lachlan Murdoch have pressed the nuclear button on the Trump presidency. The New York Post cover this morning is not a pun. It is not a joke. It is a single black and white photo of a tear-gassed child being carried out of a church with one word in blood-red font: unforgivable. The Wall Street Journal editorial board has called for the president's resignation, and Donald Trump? He is currently locked in the residence, reportedly smashing electronics, trying to call into Fox and Friends, only to find that his number, the most famous number in the world, has been blocked. In this deep dive special report, we are going to break down the Holy Grace massacre in Dallas that forced Fox to turn. We are going to analyze the Murdoch calculus, why they chose this moment to execute the betrayal. And we are going to look at the terrifying reality of a president who has lost his megaphone, his money, and his mind all in the same week. The king has no clothes, and now he has no camera. To understand the media betrayal, you have to understand the violence that triggered it. This wasn't a standard ICE raid. This was a siege, or... The target was the Holy Grace Tabernacle in Dallas, Texas. This is not a liberal church. This is not a woke institution. It is a massive, conservative, evangelical megachurch with 15,000 members. It is the heart of the Texas GOP base. Pastor Jeremiah Walls has prayed with Trump in the Oval Office. He endorsed him in 2024. But Pastor Walls had a secret. For the last 6 months, as mass deportation raids intensified across the country, he had opened the church's massive basement gymnasium to shelter undocumented families, mostly mothers and children, who were terrified of the Trump Force squad sweeping through Dallas. He called it the Jericho Sanctuary. Yesterday afternoon at 4:30 p.m., the Federal Rapid Response Team, the same unit involved in the Sarah Jenkins shooting in Minneapolis that killed a nurse, arrived at Holy Grace. They didn't knock. They didn't serve a warrant to the church elders. They used an armored personnel carrier to breach the front gates of the church complex, while the youth choir was practicing. Witnesses describe a scene of absolute chaos. 50 federal agents in tactical gear stormed the sanctuary. When the church security team, mostly retired cops and veterans, tried to stop them, the feds didn't de-escalate. They fired flashbang grenades into the narthex. The smoke filled the main hall. The choir kids, ages 8 to 12, began screaming. Pastor Walls ran out to the steps holding a Bible, begging them to stop. "This is holy ground!" he screamed. The encounter was being broadcast live on the church's Facebook stream, which had been set up to broadcast the choir practice to shut-ins. An agent struck him in the face with the butt of a rifle. The pastor went down, bleeding from the head. But the worst was yet to come. The agents breached the basement. They used tear gas in an enclosed space filled with women and toddlers. Panic ensued. A stampede toward the single exit. Dozens were trampled. 3 children are currently in critical condition at Parkland Memorial Hospital with crushed chests and chemical burns in their lungs. The visuals were apocalyptic. Nuns being handcuffed. Children vomiting from gas on the church lawn. The pastor, a pillar of the community, being dragged away in zip ties, his face covered in blood, while agents tore down the wooden cross in the lobby to make room for their tactical gear. This wasn't law enforcement. It was sacrilege. And it happened. Live. On the church's Facebook feed, which was quickly picked up by local news, then national news, then Fox. If you want to understand how we got here, how a conservative president ended up tear-gassing evangelical children in a Texas church, you need to subscribe right now. This channel doesn't spin. We don't protect politicians. We tell you what's actually happening in this country while the mainstream media runs cover. Hit subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because what's about to happen next is going to reshape American politics for a generation, and you're not going to get this analysis anywhere else. Now let's get into why Fox News made the decision to destroy Trump. Let's go inside the headquarters of Fox News in New York. Usually when a story like this breaks, the spin room goes into overdrive. The pastor was harboring criminals. The agents were attacked first. It's the Democrats' fault for open borders. Standard playbook. But last night the spin didn't work. Why? Because, son, the victims were evangelicals. The people in that church were Fox News viewers. The pastor was a Fox News guest. You cannot spin an attack on your own audience. According to leaks from Vanity Fair and the Drudge Report, a conference call took place at 5 p.m. between Lachlan Murdoch, CEO of Fox Corporation, Suzanne Scott, CEO of Fox News, and the top anchors. Lachlan Murdoch reportedly said, "We are not defending this. This is a bridge too far. He attacked a church in Texas. If we defend this, we lose the Christians." It was a cold, calculated business decision. They looked at the Japan market crash, which hurt their advertisers. They looked at the nurse shooting, which hurt their suburban ratings. And they looked at the Holy Grace raid, which killed their religious credibility. They realized that Donald Trump had become a liability to the Fox Corporation. The order went down. Cut him loose. The 9 p.m. broadcast was the execution. When Trump took the podium to defend the raid, calling the pastor a coyote and the children human shields, the control room in New York had the green light. They let him speak for 2 minutes, just enough to let him hang himself with his own cruelty. And then they cut the feed. The anchor's monologue that followed will go down in history. Ladies and gentlemen, what we just saw in Dallas is not law enforcement. It is not conservative. It is a violation of the sanctity of the church, and it is a violation of the American conscience. We cannot, in good faith, broadcast the president's defense of the indefensible. He didn't blame the deep state. He blamed the president. It was the first time in 10 years that Fox News officially broke with the MAGA narrative on a breaking news story. The shockwave was instantaneous. If Fox News was the slap in the face, the print media was the knife in the back. The Murdoch empire is coordinated. When they move as a phalanx. The New York Post. This is Trump's favorite paper. He reads it every morning. It's his hometown tabloid. Today's cover is devastating. Unforgivable. The subheadline, Trump's goons gas kids in church raid. Pastor beaten. President laughs it off. The editorial inside is titled The Madman in the High Tower. It calls him unhinged, dangerous, and unworthy of the office. It brings up the asset seizure, mocking him as a fake billionaire who destroys churches because he can't build anything himself. The Wall Street Journal. This is the voice of the money. The editorial board, which has been skeptical of Trump's tariffs but supportive of his judges, went full scorched earth. Headline: The End of Order. The text reads, "A president who cannot distinguish between a drug cartel and a Sunday school is not fit to command the executive branch." The raid in Dallas was a gross abuse of federal power that violates the core tenets of religious liberty. Combined with the economic malpractice of the Japan crisis, Mr. Trump has proven himself to be an agent of chaos. The Republican Party must intervene before there is nothing left to save. They didn't just criticize the raid. They linked it to the economy. They are telling the donors, he is bad for business and bad for religion. Dump him. This is the signal the Senate Republicans were waiting for. Mitch McConnell's successor doesn't take orders from Trump. He takes orders from the Wall Street Journal editorial page. Now that the Journal has turned, the Senate is free to turn. If you're shocked by what you're hearing right now, if you can't believe Fox News just executed Trump on live television, drop a comment below. Do you think Fox made the right call, or are they betraying the movement? And do you think Trump can survive without Fox? Comment below. Let's have this conversation. Because what happens next depends entirely on whether the base follows Fox or follows Trump into the wilderness, and make sure you're subscribed because the fallout from this is going to be seismic. The reaction inside the White House was predictably nuclear. We have sources in the West Wing telling us about the scene in the residence last night. Trump was watching Fox when the feed cut. He thought the TV was broken. He threw the remote at the screen. When the anchor started criticizing him, he went pale. He started screaming, "Get Lachlan on the phone. Get Hannity." He tried to call Fox, and this is the detail that is driving him insane. They didn't pick up. For 10 years, Donald Trump has had a direct line to the Fox hosts. He could call into the shows live. He was the executive producer-in-chief. Last night, he was sent to voicemail. He tried to call the control room. Blocked. He tried to call Rupert Murdoch's personal cell. Disconnected. The realization hit him. He has been deplatformed Sapo by his own propaganda machine. Without Fox, he cannot reach the boomer base. He cannot spin the narrative. He is just a man shouting at a camera that isn't broadcasting. So he went to Truth Social. At 11 p.m., the posts started. The globalist Murdochs have betrayed the movement. They are working for the Democrats. Lachlan is a rhino. Fox is dead. Watch OAN. Watch Newsmax. He posted the personal phone number of the Fox anchor who cut him off, which was quickly taken down by moderators. Yes, even Truth Social moderators are panicking. But here's the problem. OAN and Newsmax have 10% of the audience of Fox. And Truth Social is an echo chamber. He needs Fox to reach the swing voters. He needs Fox to reach the donors. By declaring war on Fox, he is severing his own jugular vein. Why did Fox do it? Why take the risk? Because of the adultery evangelical fracture. The Holy Grace raid was a strategic error of titanic proportions. Trump assumed the evangelicals would stick with him no matter what. He gave them the Supreme Court. He thought he owned them. But attacking a church crossed the line between God and Caesar. We are seeing prominent evangelical leaders, Franklin Graham types, the people who laid hands on him in 2016, issuing statements of condemnation. The state has no right to enter the house of God with weapons. Tear-gassing children in a sanctuary is an act of evil. Fox News saw this data. They saw the internal polling. If they defended the raid, they would lose the Bible Belt. If they attacked Trump, they might lose the MAGA diehards, but they would keep the churchgoers. They chose the church. This creates a split in the Republican base that cannot be healed. On one side, the Trump or death cultists who think the pastor was a traitor. On the other side, the family values voters who are horrified by the violence. A divided base cannot win a midterm. A divided base cannot stop an impeachment. The legal ramifications of the raid are already hitting the docket. The American Center for Law and Justice, ACLJ, a massive conservative legal group, has announced they are representing Pastor Walls. They are suing the federal government for violation of the First Amendment, free exercise of religion, violation of the Fourth Amendment, unreasonable search and seizure, excessive force. This isn't the ACLU suing Trump. This is his own lawyers suing him. Jay Sekulow, who defended Trump in the first impeachment, is now giving press conferences condemning the raid. The Constitution does not end where the president's ego begins. This lawsuit will drag out. We will see discovery. We will see body cam footage of agents hitting a pastor. Every day this is in the news is a day Trump loses support. And Fox News will cover the lawsuit. They will cover it as a religious liberty crusade against a tyrannical government. Trump has handed them the perfect narrative to destroy him with conservative talking points. So where are we? Trump is in the bunker. His Truth Social is shouting into the void. His TV network has turned on him. His paper has turned on him. His church has turned on him. He is the most famous man in the world, and he has never been more invisible. Without the amplifier of the Murdoch media, Trump is just a man in a room screaming at clouds. The echo chamber has been breached. Reality is flooding in. And the reality is, the raid on Holy Grace was the end of the holy alliance between Trump and the right. He traded the church for the police state. And in America, you never bet against the church. The king has no clothes. Fox News just buried him, and the replacement is already being groomed on prime time tonight. Subscribe. We will be covering the lawsuits, the primary challenges, and the implosion in real time. This is the end of an era. The signal died, and it's not coming back.